And even from that perspective too, if it is not a biased decision, then that gives the woman perspective, right? As to, okay, I didn't get hired because I don't have enough of this or whatever. And then, so she then has the knowledge to sort of spruce up whatever area she needs to.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you sort of, you know whether or not it was a biased decision, and if it wasn't biased, then you can do something about it. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Is there anything else then is there anything else that you think would particularly make a difference in terms of moving towards gender equality?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, obviously, including more, like, the questions you asked before, is there a team that's specifically looking actively at these things throughout the organization?
Yeah.
I feel like if all companies really pushed and focused and included that team, then there would obviously be more accountability.
Yeah.
And opportunity being created. So I think there's a shift happening on Ireland where you are kind of seeing more of the bigger firms including that.
Yeah.
Like the big four companies and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's still a ton of other mid-sized companies that I think aren't really looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, because you've said already that you don't have it within your own organisation. Do you think that your organisation would benefit from it if you did have someone focused on either gender equality or diversity and inclusion?
Right. And I'm assuming that committee would sort of feed into HR decisions, right? And so...
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there are lots of different ways to do it.
To the point I was making before with the accountability and transparency, maybe the feedback then goes back to the Gender Equality Committee.
Yeah.
And, they act as sort of an independent assessor, of the decisions being made at the senior management level and the HR level.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you have accountability and you have someone who's actually holding everyone to account.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
It can't be like this haphazard thing where I feel like the days for that are gone where organizations can say, oh, well, yeah, I hired X amount of women, so you can't tell me I'm being biased or whatever. I feel like it has to actually come down to like a structure and a procedure, a policy.
Yeah.
Where there's accountability.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, and we've talked so far. We've been sort of focused on gender equality in the workplace. Just a question I had for you, I suppose, is obviously gender in the workplace is it's informed by gender equality in education. And the sort of subjects that we encourage young women to learn and the subjects we encourage young men to learn. It sort of informs who goes into what industries when they leave school. And I suppose I wondered, what's your take on that in Cayman? Is there, do you think there's gender equality in education?
I think here I've heard that, I think generally you tend to find women being more studious, I guess, and accomplishing more of their academic goals quicker.
Okay.
I guess that's just like a byproduct of our nature, right? And so you would tend to find that we are sort of excelling more from that perspective. But then when you come back to the workplace, you don't see us in the senior positions, right? So there's a big disconnect there.
Yeah.
In terms of at the school level, I think that entire male-female role thing kind of needs to be revised, and we kind of need to remove the stigma that, only certain roles can do certain things.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I think one of the reasons we kind of in this predicament is because there's just so much masculine energy in these senior positions, right? Like in organizations and politics. Most of the high-powered positions that you see, there's more of a masculine energy there.
Right.
And that energy tends to kind of be more of like a doing, achieving, keep going, keep pushing, achieve, and then you kind of bypass these soft elements.
Yeah.
Which I refer to as like more feminine qualities, right? Like compassion.
Yeah.
Care, that kind of thing. And I feel like if more of those elements were incorporated at the top level, then there will not be this disparity.
Okay.
And I think that sort of education needs to start happening at the school level so that you see the other person as an equal.
Yeah.
And not so much,
Yeah.
Because I feel like men tend to, at the school level too, we train boys to think that they need to be strong and, not care and be kind of emotionless almost.
Yeah.
Okay. And that filters through their entire career so that when they get to those positions, they are that person. And so they tend to sort of look at women as disadvantaged.
Right.
So I don't know if that comes across to you, but I feel like that kind of shift needs to start happening at a younger age.
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense. So it feels like there's a few issues tied in there, and so the first one is kind of in like you say, sort of teaching young boys they have to be strong and kind of very unfeeling in what they do, and maybe the reverse is true for girls. It feels like there was also something in there for you around the fact that kind of energy also comes out in sort of leadership and in sort of in visible senior leaders like in government and things like that. And so then I suppose my question is, do you think I suppose this is a question particularly about young people in Cayman, but also generally, do you think that there's kind of an issue around having a lack of visible role models for women, that that your sort of senior leaders it's very masculine? Then do you know that as a woman you can aim higher than that?
Yeah, definitely. I know it's slowly changing.
Yeah.
And now you probably could see one or two women in those, really powerful positions, and you can tell that it's achievable.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, like the flip side of that is sometimes I feel like as a woman, to really make it, you have to adopt more of that masculine energy I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Because we are in a patriarchy, right? We are like in a male-dominated world. And so for me to become that director or whatever, I have to impress male directors. And to do that, you have to speak their language.
Yeah.
You have to embody things that they would resonate with, right? Which is more achieve, do, work. And then you kind of neglect other key aspects of your life. And so I feel like even some women, when they do make it to the top, because they've already been conditioned to become the opposite of what they are, which is really compassion and caring and the softer things. I mean, yes, we obviously need the more masculine side of it, where, you achieve and you do and you set goals and targets and stuff. You need both.
Yeah.
But what happens is we tend to become so transformed into this other persona that when we make it to the top, we too lose our way and our real sense of identity.
Yeah.
And so a younger woman looking on at that might then think, oh, well, that's normal. For me to become her, I need to basically sacrifice all other areas of my life and just focus on accomplishments only.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what my struggle has been.
Yeah.
And only now I've recognized this, and I'm doing things to sort of get back to the other areas of my life that also add value.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think?
So I think that is also important.
Yeah. Do you think it also disadvantages men in a way? Because obviously, not every man is going to be sort of very masculine and very, sort of driven. I suppose you've got. It sounds like there's sort of one model for success, and you either as a woman you have to sort of be that way or develop yourself to sort of become that, and I think it sounds like the same is true for men. Maybe if you're slightly softer and sort of more nurturing, that maybe you have to kind of disregard that too.
Yeah, I feel like if a man is like that, then there's a cap to where he reaches, right? Because then his counterparts might kind of see him more like as weak.
Yeah. Okay.
When really and truly it's not weakness, it's just, really displaying the spectrum of human emotion, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But again, that's a whole other conversation and a whole other deeper perspective in terms of what I think really needs to change from your childhood level coming up into adulthood.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. I'm conscious I don't want to take up